Yeah, g'day, Bush Camping Tools here. Well, as you can see, I'm actually inside for this little bit of a video today. It's not a review, it's more of a show and tell. Got a bunch of things here, but I want to show you some sawback knives. I've just got a couple of them here. They're both from the same company. They just happen to be both from the same company. Well, actually, and there's a reason why. And these are Ator products. And I know many of you don't like sawback knives, and with very good reason, because most sawback knives are absolute rubbish, gimmicks, mall ninja type things, and the reason why, because the saws don't work. Also, and I'll talk about why these sawbacks do work on these particular knives. But firstly, I want to clear up too many people which think of sawbacks are not, they're wire cutters or wire cutter notches. So unless you can actually saw something, and that is to remove wood on a forward stroke and a rear stroke or a rear stroke, it's not a saw. You know, it's got to function, to be a sawback knife, it's got to function like a regular saw, or almost like that. And you can't really have a kerf as such on a sawback knife, because it just wouldn't function very well. It'd be sticking out past the spine. So let's have a closer look at this here, and I'll show you why these saw designs on these Ator knives really work, and they've also been copied from many other brands. Okay, so let's have a look at this saw in detail here. And Ator, actually, for this particular company, they have a special machine that grinds this pattern into the spine here. It's exactly the same on this knife over there. So why does this work? This saw design, by the way, cuts on both the forward stroke and the back stroke. Well, the reason why it works is because it actually removes material on both strokes. It could only be on the draw stroke. Okay, that would be okay, but this does it on both strokes, because with such a short saw, to increase efficiency, one needs to be able to remove material on both forward and backward directions. And I see many sawbacks designs which are purporting to be sawbacks, but you will only remove material on the pull stroke and not the push stroke. The benefits of having a sawback such as this is you can use this also to scale fish and preserve the blade here. If you have to scale fish, this will cut through bone, animal bone, without a problem. The other thing is you can also cut fishing line and thick monofilament line with this, again saving the edge of the knife. If you're worrying about having to, those that say, well, if I strike a baton along this here, it's going to damage the baton. So what? If you're splitting wood in the case, if you're having to split wood like that in the case to start a fire, well, it means you really need the fire. And the last thing I'm going to be worrying about is putting marks into a baton, because there should be lots of wood lying around for other batons. So I think this is really a nonsensical argument to say it's going to damage the baton. Who cares? Let's face it, if you've got to light a fire, you've got to light a fire. Okay, so this is the other knife here from Ator with this saw back. And one of the things about a sawback which people fail to recognize is they think that the saw must be able to cut through thick branches, thin branches, and things like that. No, that is not the case, because let's face it, if you want to do that, you go and get a silky saw and do it the right way. What the sawback is for, in my opinion, is to cut notches, and it can cut notches the width of the spine really well, and that means you can lash ropes, cords into those notches. They will definitely not slip along whatever you're lashing to. You can quickly cut notches like that, and you can also weaken branches, which then can be snapped more easily with one's foot, knee, leg, arm, hand, whatever. And you might be surprised that with the shallow depth required to actually weaken a branch, which will definitely not snap easily until slightly weakened. You don't have to swing the knife around and make any chops or chop the branch. You can just weaken it with the sawback, and I've done that many times with knives such as these. What are the drawbacks with a knife with a sawback? Well, one of the drawbacks is I've had to put a plastic liner inside of this leather scabbard, because sawback knives, unless they're in really good scabbards or scabbards that take this into account, you're going to damage the scabbard every time you put that knife into the scabbard, and every time you take it out, especially if you're a bit clumsy or you're not very carefully inserting the knife like absolutely straight into the scabbard. Okay, because these things, you know, they're really abrasive on leather scabbards. They'll be hold up a bit better on things which are synthetic. But leather scabbards, yeah, I don't like them. This one actually came with this is a leather scabbard actually, and it's not that great for this particular knife. They also, in this particular case, this company released this knife with a full polyamide nylon type scabbard, but this model didn't come with it. Mine was a bit of an older one there. But anyway, yeah, that's why I like sawbacks. They are useful for making notches. They're useful for cutting monofilament line. They're useful for scaling fish. It saves the blade. A good design will remain sharp. And this is, you know, I've just not blunted this thing at all. These things have been cutting oak, plum, walnut, and of course soft pine. And they do clear greenwood and drywood just as well. You know, is with, you know, so it doesn't make any real difference there. Of course, greenwood will tend to, if it's really resinous like pine, will get caught up in it. But that's my take on sawback knives. If you're going to get a sawback knife, whatever it is, make sure you have a look around the internet, see what kind of sawbacks are available on knives. Do not confuse sawbacks knives with, you know, wire cutter notches. Many people think the Rambo, you know, the original Rambo type knife was a sawback knife. No, it wasn't. These were wire cutter notches on there. You try to saw anything with that kind of knife, it's not going to happen. You know, yeah, it's just not going to happen. This is not a wire cutter notch, and I'll show you later on what wire cutter notches look like. But these are not. Okay, these are sawbacks. So there you go there. And usually too, they can be good for sawing, you know, man-made objects as well. All right, Bush Camping Tools here. Thanks for watching.